Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Steve Woody, and in this video series I'm going to be talking to you about Star Citizen. Now, for those of you that have been following my channel, you'll know that I like the kind of space-themed city builder, survival kind of games. And there's a lot of games I'm looking forward to at the moment. There's Star Atlas, which we know about. I've been playing Occupy Mars, which you'll see on the channel. I'm very much looking forward to seeing Starfield when it comes out. And so I want to talk today about Star Citizen because a lot of people have talked about it. You may or may not have heard about it. But I'm going to explain to you from my experience, having dived into it this week, what it's all about, where it comes from, where we think it's going, and where it is right now. And so in order to do that, first of all, we need to go back to the beginning. So let's just go to Google, type in Star Citizen, and you're going to find a website called Roberts Space Industries. This is a fictitious company that was created to sell merchandise and in-game items. I believe it's actually a real company as well, based on the merchandise and the items they sell in the real world. But it's a fictitious brand within the game. And if you were to click on that, it will take you to the website. Now, before we go there, we're just going to pop to the Wikipedia, just to give you a very, very quick overview. So it's in development. It's a multiplayer space trading combat simulation game is what it was kind of deemed. It's kind of like a space sim. It's being led by director Chris Roberts. And for those of you that don't know Chris Roberts, the reason so many people have been following this project is because of this gentleman here. So going back, he was involved in Wing Commander 2, was involved in a load of really good games back in the day, has done amazing stuff, and so he's now kind of dedicated to this. Now, with that being said, the game actually started on Kickstarter originally. And so when we go back and we look at sort of 2010, when the game was in pre-production, 2010, production started in 2011, which was 12 years ago now. 12 years ago. So it's been over a decade, and the Kickstarter is one of the most successful Kickstarters that ever happened. So last updated in 2013, they wanted 500,000... Yeah, they wanted $500,000. 34,397 backers. They got 2.1 million, and that was for 30 days. So in 30 days, they got 35,000 backers and 2 million pledged, where they wanted 500,000. So far exceeded. From there, it went on to now be one of the biggest projects ever raised. It's now, I believe, nearly 600 million, but it's over $500 million. And that was as of September 2022. So that was last year. So that was $500 million and a decade. So what does that get you? What does that buy you? What does $500 million and a decade give you? Well, it doesn't give you a complete game, that's for sure. One of the things that happened in the Kickstarter, and I believe this was the start of many challenges that occurred, is something called project creep or scope creep. And what that means is that when they started to hit their targets, they started to have these stretch goals. Hey, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. And so many new things have been promised, added, changed, iterated. They haven't actually got the core foundations built and out yet. And as a result, we're yet to see a stable game. Lots of server crashes, lots of desyncs, lots of disconnects, lots of bugs. And that's on production, which for anyone that's in early access, and it is in early access, you'll really appreciate when you play a game how you really don't want to experience anything like lag or bugs. Lag and bugs are the two biggest killers in a game, in my opinion. So they've had all of these things to iterate, to work on, and some things haven't been updated. So for example, the website. I believe that so many things have been packed in now that the website's kind of lost its direction a little bit, and it's a bit confusing. So if you land here for the first time, you may not know what you're looking at and what it is. If you scroll through, you can see here you can explore, you can fight, you can earn, and they're really trying to create something that is immersive and realistic. That's the goal they're going for. So we have these companies within the game. So Planet ArcCorp. ArcCorp were given a planet. There's also Horizon. There's 6 in total. There's Lorville, We've also got Microtech on New Babbage, and then there's others as well. So you can kind of work your way through, see all of the different places, and there's a lot of good stuff going on. They've got incredible trailers, great graphics. You can see they've obviously invested a lot of money. The ships, the designs, the FPS gameplay itself, apart from the desync and the lag, is really immersive and really good. It's a great potential game if they can fix the bugs. So what is it? What is the game? Well, when it started, there were different game modes. There was Star Citizen, Squadron 42, and there was also something called Area Commander and something Marine, but I can't remember what it is. I'll have to figure that out in a second. We'll get back to that bit, and I'll. Oh, there is Star Marine. So Star Marine and Arena Commander, which are still live. Star Marine is kind of the FPS side of the game, first-person shooter. Arena Commander is kind of the dogfight, the combat, the ship side of things. And these have kind of been blended into what is now called the Persistent Universe. The Persistent Universe just keeps growing, keeps evolving. It's normally about 50 players in a server with about 6 different regions, and new servers spin up as new players join. So you might be in a server with different people every time you play. And that's kind of where it is right now. But all of your gear, everything is all saved and updated, and other players as well. And that's the Persistent Universe. There's also the PUT, which is the Persistent Universe Testnet. And that is a kind of a bleeding edge version that goes out. So Star Marine, you can play this in kind of a multiplayer game mode. And Arena Commander, you can play this. But Persistent Universe is really where you want to be. That's where you want to play. That's the massive multiplayer online side of things. And then Squadron 42 is really the the single player campaign mode. This has had a lot of celebrities. It's got an all-star cast. It's got an incredible cinematic trailer that you can watch. And yeah, so really, really a lot of work and a lot of effort's got into this, but it's not out yet. You can't get it yet. Again, this is like 10 years later and we're still waiting for a lot of this stuff. So delays are common. You can't even get this at the moment. Some people did get it. Some people have got early access to it. They've removed it now. You can't do that. But the main thing is to play the game, you still need to pay. You need to buy the early access. And the way that happens is you need to go to the Pledge store. So I'm not going to worry about going through this. And I'm not going to go through the apps either. We're just going to click on the Pledge store. Now, the developers are active. They are updating things. And there's some challenges. And there's definitely some questions over the tactics that they use. But at the end of the day, they've got a big war chest. They've got a great team. And we'll see what happens. You know, they're doing cutting edge stuff. Well, not even really cutting edge, but they're doing very complex things. Stuff that's been done in other games. We've seen it in No Man's Sky. We've seen a lot of these other games that have put parts of this together. And Star Citizen is trying to do it all. And as I said, Star Atlas, Starfield, there's a lot of other games out there. There'll be a lot of competition. It'd be really good to keep an eye on this and see how it goes. So if you want to get started, if you do decide you want to get started, you can't just go and buy a ship. You can't just download the game. You have to have a game package. Now, a game package is literally your access to the game. And there's different versions. If you click on game packages, well, in fact, if you go to the homepage here, the Roberts Space Industries, and you were to click on Star Atlas, it would actually tell you there's 2 versions. And these are the basics. There's the Aurora package and the Mustang Alpha package. And if you look at more info, they're both the same. And they don't really tell you much. They don't tell you anything about the ship. They just say that you get a self-land hangar, you get 3 months worth of insurance, and you get Star Citizen digital download. This is the game. And you get starting money of 1,000. I think that's Universal Earth credits or United Earth credits. But UEC, which is the in-game credits. So what that basically, and if you use a referral code, by the way, there's a referral system. If you use a referral code, you get an additional 5,000 starting credits. And the person who referred you gets a referral point. And referral points can unlock things in the shop, which we'll talk about later. But you don't need to use it, but it's a bonus if you do. So if you go to the starter packs, the game packages, there's actually quite a few of them. And they range from $45 up to over $1,000 with this one as well, which is the Talon Alien Week starter pack here, which is a new one at the moment, 15% off. We'll have a look at the details of that one. We'll also have a look at the details of the most expensive one, and we'll have a look at the details of the cheapest one. Now, what this basically means here is you're going to get a few things. So here you actually get you get the Talon, you get a few other things as well. You do get the game as well, but you know you don't need these things. You really don't need to spend this much money. If you want to, when there's an offer, you can. They also do like free fly events where you can test the game out for free. You really, if you want to buy anything at the moment, if you do, you kind of want to get the Squadron 42. But at the moment, the only way I know to get this, which is the Squadron 42 digital download, the only way I know to get this is with the £1,122 package. It's far too much. So let's go back to the basic package. Okay, the basic package here is the £45 option, which is here. You get 3 months insurance, you get a copy of the game, and you get 1,000 starting credits. Now, it doesn't tell you anything else. And it doesn't really need to, because honestly, this is all you need. This is game access. And the ship that you get doesn't really matter. Now, any ship in the game, you can acquire in the game. So you can start off with the basic, and you can grind your way up to be able to get the better ships. All the way through. The only difference is if there's a wipe, or if the game server wipes and you lose all your ships, you'll always keep your paid ship. So if you wanted to bypass some of that early level grind and that sort of work that you have to put in, then a bigger ship might allow you to do that. But it's not going to necessarily make you better at the game. In fact, I know people, and I've seen people with incredible ships that don't know what they're doing, and they're getting destroyed by people with much lesser ships. Just because they're a more skilled pilot or a better team. So if you were to start with something, and you wanted to start with something, and you didn't want to spend the 45, you thought, oh, do you know what, I'll go a little bit better, then I would consider either the Avenger Titan starter pack is a better ship than the first two, I would say, or the Cutlass Black. The Cutlass Black is kind of the upgrade. So people go from the starter ship. Most people will go for the Aurora. The Aurora is what people tend to go to pick for. So Aurora, I would say into the Titan, into the Cutlass Black. And you can skip the Titan if you want to. But if you're looking at getting into the game, either 1, 2, or 3. Now, if you really want to go another step further than that, you could get the basic pack, the £45 or the $54 option. And from there, you can upgrade. Meaning that once you've purchased your access, you can then buy a more expensive ship if you wanted to, and you'll only pay the difference. So you will lose your initial ship, and you will only pay the difference to get the upgraded ship, which is a nice thing that they do, and I like that, if I'm honest with you. Now, there are a lot of ships. It really depends on what you want to do. There is no right or wrong answer. There's lots of different industries, and we'll talk about that later. But at the time of this patch, which is 3.19.1, I would say that the one of the better ships to consider starting with at this stage in the game, if you wanted to earn some money right now, would probably be something like the Vulture. That is a mining ship, and I think it costs something like, here we go, the Vulture. So the mining ship, the Vulture, you can't get it in game right now. The only way you can get it right now is to buy it, and it's £178. But you would only pay the difference. So you pay the 45, get the initial ship, upgrade to this. If you wanted the better ship, and this would allow you to do a lot more. So again, you don't need to. There's no desire to do that, but they're your kind of initial options. But starting out, I think you'll be absolutely fine just getting the starter pack, paying your £45, and knowing that the game is in early access. It can be very buggy. You may get frustrated with it, but you're kind of buying for the future. That's the way I would look at it. So let's assume you've gone ahead, you've bought your starter pack, you've got it. We then would come into this. This is the main menu. So your main menu that you're going to see when you come into the game is going to give you these 3 options. You've got your Persistent Universe, the Star Marine, and the Arena Commander. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go through a video series where I'm going to explain to you all the different things. So let's just get started. We'll get into the game, and then I'll stop this video there. I'll put it'll be a playlist, and you'll go into the next video, which will talk about gameplay and teach you the basics of the game, because it does really, at the start of the game, there's a lot that's kind of left where you can go through like an introduction, but you really need someone to guide you and help you. And I think that there's a lot of incredible videos out there, but the challenge with a lot of those videos I found is that they don't always remember what it's like to be a new player. And I've only just started this week, so this is really fresh off the top of my mind, like some of the things I've experienced in going through this journey. So you'll need to set your primary residence. You can do that wherever you want it to be. Primary residence can be anywhere. If you do the tutorial, it will set you to Area 18. Just bear that in mind. And you don't need to do the tutorial. In fact, I'll cover everything that's within that. But if you want to, you can go through that. I personally would choose New Babbage. And I'll explain why as we go through that and everything within the game. And yeah, we'll cover that in the next video as well. Then you'll choose your server location and you'll enter the Star Citizen universe. The first thing it will get you to do is a character customization. So you'll go through your character, choose all of your things that you want. And once you've done that and you've gone through that process, then you'll be able to save your character and then you'll be able to play the game. So I'm going to assume you're at this stage. You've selected your primary residence. I'm going to assume you've selected New Babbage because that is what I would recommend doing. You don't need to go through the tutorial, and then enter the Star Citizen universe. And I will see you in the next video as we talk through how to get started playing Star Citizen.